All right, guys, Sam back with you here on Thursday, May 3rd, kind of middle of the day, and I saved Bitcoin for last. So, of course, we did our polling amongst members. Bitcoin was what most people wanted to look at because it was moving so much and potentially now changing the count. I thought I'd wait and do this one last today. So now looking at this, right, so here's the count that I've been working from on the assumption that what I can see with clarity is that I've got a five-wave structure here. The debate, and if you've watched any of my other videos here, was where was the four? Do we have a 1, 2, and we're putting in a third, or is this all part of a one wave? So I won't go back through this, but what this would now suggest that the alternate count may be in fact what we have. So this five-wave structure doesn't change. What's changing is the move from here, that this may be our 1, our 2. Now I do have this five-wave motive wave, or pardon me, impulse, which would imply that I've got a 3 there, 4 going in here, and now we're going up for the 5. Now that is, you know, certainly a contender. There's nothing here that violates anything that we're seeing. Now, why am I now leaning towards that? So let's get this down in here. I'm going to take the wave off of that now because it's kind of making the point. Let's go to green on that one. All right. So if this is 1, 2, then we've got this completed impulse wave here. We could now reconsider this. This changes our count. So why lean that direction? Because this price action here is much more indicative of a fourth rather than a second. So because we've got this triangle, right, and this is kind of harkens back to what we saw in crypto for 2017. This price action here, where we've got this established sort of format here, where we've got a triangle, if you will. So if we're looking at my B here, so we now have had the breakout. Potentially, right? Potentially. It remains to be seen if we hold up here. So so we get an A. I've got a nice 3-wave B. I do have subdivision down here to give me a 5-wave into my C. So this plays much better now as a fourth. And now we're going up, we're looking for our 5th up here. So it's not a radical change, but if we look at where we're pulling from, that actually has not changed. So if this is our 2 and this is our 3, we're still trying to identify that probability zone. Here we know the stronger the market between the 23.6 and the 38. The fact that I've had a triangle, that would not be an option in the second, but it is an option here in the 4th. So it looks like that's the count that's going to play. 1, 2, we're up for the 3. We've had essentially this sideways movement. We've had a breakout here. So looking now, we can start measuring and looking for some identification of where we might run into that 5th to complete now this 1 relative to what this would be the larger degree here. So our 0 would be, I got the wrong one. Let's get this one hot. So our 0 would be over here. Right? It doesn't matter because it goes invisible. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's consider that. What can we measure? Do we have any confluence up here? So if I take the length of my 1, proposed 1 at this point, and I project from my, what I would be advocating is now a 4 low, I do get some nice confluence up here. So take a look at this here. So I've got a nice fat target here. I've got 1618, the length of the 1 projected from my proposed 4. So I've got a nice target up here for a 5th that would complete now a 5-wave subdivision with all the appropriate subdivision that we'd expect. So we've had, you know, you can see it, and if you would like, you can always go back to those prior videos. But we've got 5 waves here in the 5th to complete the 5th of what now appears to be the 3rd. And it looks to me like we've got a 1, 2, and we're into the 3rd, perhaps, of our 5th here of this larger degree. So thinking about where we may be going, if we're going up that high, that's going to change a few things. So it's certainly changing where the next opportunity is. Now, I'm hypothetical here. If we go up and we tag that target, our next opportunity would be down here at the 50, and anticipating a correction of that 5-wave impulsive structure here. So we'd be looking, so this all would be going much higher. So we'd be looking for something over here. Now, if that's a 1, we're looking for an ABC to take us back down here. So the 50%, we'll call it 8,500, would be the next opportunity per this count playing out and coming up here and tapping the fifth. Now, we don't know that we get there. We don't know. We could double top here. We don't know. We don't know. But right now, this would be my... I would change this from an alternate to my primary count on the anticipation that we're going up here to tag some of these upper targets. So just a few other things here worth noting. It gets a little tricky here now, but this move here certainly looks impulsive. So if I dig in here, I'm going to go down to a 15-minute and see if we can make sense of where we are in the count here. So if you're looking for shorter term plays, so we can see here. So a couple of things that I noticed here that are worth considering. Remember, an algorithm does not care about our Elliott count or what we're trying to do. We're trying to dance around what the algos are doing, just to reduce our risk. But if I take my last pivot here to my swing high, you can see we come right to the 50. So that would suggest here, sort of kind of tease us up here with those upper targets here. So here's a contender here. Here's the target from the larger degree, so that puts us right in smack dab in the middle. But remember, we're just identifying here potential algo play as they move here, and that, so we don't necessarily know. We could top here. We don't know. So we've got a nice confluence here of the larger degree. I would defer to that larger degree. So I'd be looking, it's a place to pay attention to if I see a severe reaction, because I promise you that's an algo that bought that there, that is now looking to take profit right here. Can we get through it? We'll see. But that is absolutely an algo buy with that as a target. So maybe that would pivot there. We'll have to look and see, can we get, so it's a difference of 10.2 up to 10.5. So that's a 300-point range that we have there. So one not to ignore. Now let's go, if I can, let me pull this back out here. Let's dig in here. See, so does this play as a 1-2? Are we pushing up here into a third? Well, let's get in there, see how that looks. So let me reset it. So here's our front run on the 50 for that algo play. So as I look here now, all right, so again, this is kind of that reverse engineering that you've seen me do many times, where we have to look, where are the deepest retracements? What have I got? So here, that would suggest here that from this ramp here, okay, that I'm in my third. So if I just take my fib tool and I start, so this immediately gets my attention here. So from this swing to this swing, I can just, I've been doing this long enough. I can see that there's a 50 to the tick, right? So here's the first target, little reaction. Second target, little reaction. We're blowing right through all of that. So that would suggest to me that since I've got a perfect algo play here from here to here, that this is some sort of a 1-2. So working backwards and just kind of backing into it, that looks like that's a 1-2 of some degree. This could be my, it looks like that's A, B, C. So this could be my 2 here. We're in some sort of a 3, 4, and 5 going up, so I got to scrunch this down. So is our third in up here? No way to know. All right, we'll have to wait and see. But contender. So we're now to and through the upper targets. So let's look at that. So if that's a 1-2, so this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like I've got a completed fifth here. So could this play, if I go down to the smaller degree here, do I have a potential 1, 2? That's going to be too shallow for a 3, 4, 5. That's going to be too. I can just look at that and we can see that third's going to be too short. So let's back into this. So I may have 1, 2 here. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That actually looks like it could play. So we might have that. So let's wick this off here. That's okay. That now we start to put it together. So if I wick off my wave 1 high right here, right? We see how we just come down. We don't overlap it. We come to it here. We threaten it, but don't overlap it. So it looks. I got to measure that. Let's just double check it. So if I take the length of this, I just want to check this first one. Oops, wrong one. So if I'm working from this low, I know 3 cannot be my shortest. So if I pull it over here, okay, so that can't be my third, but that can be. So this would have to play as 1, 2. This cannot be. This cannot be my 1, 2, 3. It's too short. And and I've got 5 in this, so it's got to be this way. So it's got to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete my third. There's my 4, so I'm going to look for a relationship between my 2 and my 4 if I've got anything to work with there. Interesting. Okay, so do you see what I've just done there? So here, if that's 1, 2, then here's 3. I'm coming right to the 618 to the tick. Right? Do you see it? So that adds credibility and viability to this count here that I've got a 1, 2, I've got a kind of an ugly 3. I'm very technical on my 4. Now that's granted, that's deep for a 4, but we literally come, it almost looks like they come down ticket just so they can get filled. Right to the 618 to the tick, and then we go right up. So you see there's the algo play, right? So you see it. I don't know how many hundreds of, not thousands of times I've shown it to you. So there it is. There's the algo play, and then we get the reaction. So what does the reaction do? Well, note the reaction as I just showed you. All right, so if I work from this to this, 50, 50, target. So yeah, okay. So having backed into that now, I have a count here that plays. So I've got all of the ingredients here. I've got this kind of funky 1 wave. I've got my 2 right to the 50 where I have my A, my B, my C. We come here and now we have the big rip. So where is that going? Well, so 1 is a 2. We're already through the upper targets. So let's pull some of this off. So if that's 1, 2, 3, let's think about possible targets. So there's a 1, there's my, if I'm going to play that as my 2, well, I've just gone up to the 272, right? I've got potential legs to get up to that 1618, right? So here's a contender. We don't know that we've stopped or paused. We've paused here for a second. So 1, 2, going up, looking for the high probability zone here. There's my target for my third. If I can get it, 1, 2. Looks like I've had a little pause here. Are we running out of steam? Yeah, we're getting kind of hot, but no divergence down here, no divergence here. At least on the 15-minute, this looks like a third. Certainly, that's the peak from this pivot here. This is our strongest move, so that might have more legs in it. And we'd be looking for the 4. So if we get up there, it's just playing along. Here we've got our 2, potentially our 2. If we're going to get that high, next opportunity, we'd be looking for it between the 23 and the 38. Somewhere down there. So there's your potential roadmap just being set up. So let's get that wave on there. So could we get there? 4, 5. A strong market. The shallow 2 implying the strength, right? So they can't wait. So I mean, looking at that, now let's put it into context. So there's my from that low, right? So actually, we'd have to look at it this way. So there's the completed count. So 1, shallow 2, big 3, down for the 4. So this, I don't see another way to count that. So it's shallow for a 2, no question about it, because this can't play. This can't play. This has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shallow 2, big rip. It's very low odds, very low percentage that would play as a 2, but there it is, right? So what are you going to do? I mean, that would be less than 10% statistically that we'd put in a 2 that's that shallow, yet there it is. All right, so let me take that off. We kind of made that point. Well, let me do this. Let me pull back out here. Let's go to we'll go to a 3 hour and put this all into some sort of a context. All right, so we're targeting some upper. Let's go to. We'll go to blue on that one. Okay, so we've got some upper targets up here. That's got to go up a degree. We'll go to intermediate just so it's easy to spot. Go to, here, we'll put that in white. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, going up for a 5. We don't know where. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? But we've got a contender. We've got a couple of targets. If we're going to just continue to rip here, coming off of this pivot. Right, couple of targets here. The other thing that we can look at and now say with clarity, if we're completing a 5-wave structure, the next play is to look for that 50% retracement, which is going to be off of this low now. Look, if and when we get our top up here and we start to roll over, next opportunity will be to tee it up at the 50. So very interesting. Looks promising. So now we got to put this all in the context of where that larger resistance is going to be. So if we look back now, so we gotta pay attention to these. Right, I think we're now to and through. Oh, not quite. Okay, so working from the absolute high here. All right, you can see. So I gotta have to zoom in here so we can see what we've just done. Well, we've just wicked the 618, and we're getting our reaction there. So potentially now that resistance kicks in there. That could be our pivot for our third. So let's clear some of this up. So let me take some of that off. Let me get this now. Let me get the wave off of that. Let's take that down a degree. Okay, so we've got a 1, 2 potentially now. Do you see this gold line here? We came up and tagged it previously. So in effect, what we're doing is right now we're just putting in a double top here. We've run into that same resistance at the 618. It should be no surprise to anyone. Now, can we get through it? So if this is going to play as 1, 2, and there's the big 3 going up to challenge that 618 again, look at the reaction already, because algorithms that have sold here are defending here. They'll continue to sell that because they've got targets that are way, 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 way down here would be looking at fresh lows there. So how can we get through there? Well, that would be substantial if we can get through that. If we think about it, this is the second test of that 618. Now we're setting it up in the midst of an impulse. If we can get that 4 and that 5 to kick through, well, now we're breaking that significant resistance here at the 618. Well, is that the end of it? Does that mean blue sky? Well, absolutely not, because now we got to work back to this one. Next one up. Right, that's all resistance along the way. We saw the reaction here. Right, we know that's going to be considerable resistance. That's what we'll call it. If we're going to front run it 11.7, somewhere in that range. And then if we get through that, we got to get through all the way halfway back. So plenty of resistance to fight through on the way back, coming off of this low. But here's potentially now. So we put the whole thing in context. So all of this starts moving up higher as our potential roadmap. So 1, 2, going up for the 3. I guess to get that in to look right, we'd have to be somewhere along those lines. So 1, 2, deep 2, up big 3. That's what we're all waiting for. Can we be there for the third? For that, that's the move, right? Up 786 is back to 15. But this is a roadmap to get us back up to challenge the old highs, right? This all just requirement that we have to do this. So far, so good. So the very interesting bit is that from this pivot to this swing high, we stayed internal, could not get that low. And now we've moved away from it impulsively with great subdivision. We've got all of the ingredients that are there for this now to be a very meaningful low, and we're starting on the new trend. So that all of these older possibilities that we were heading lower, all those now look fairly solid as our last pivot low to work from. So this level down here at 64.50-ish, that looks like a good pivot. We're coming off of it strongly. All right, guys, that's what I see. It's a bit of a hurry up and wait. We need this thing to top. We need to see if we can get through that resistance. So coming back down here to our hourly, we need to see if we can do it. What does the subdivision look like? Excuse me. If we go up here and we break and we can get 5, well, that would suggest that what we're doing now is completing this 5-wave structure and recognizing that the 2 is likely to follow. All right, guys. Just a reminder. Excuse me. Got to get a mute on this mic. Drives me crazy. Okay, so just a reminder. We if you want to learn more about what we're teaching and how to apply this methodology and building the skill set to apply this to any asset class, we like crypto. We trade a lot of crypto just because of the volatility, but it doesn't matter. The same methodology applies to any asset. Any chart does not matter. They all move exactly the same way. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please give us a visit over at Trade Devils plural, tradedevils.com. That's our website. You can read about what we offer to you for monthly membership. We do have a very, very active members Discord. That is where you'll land upon becoming a member. And we also offer one-on-one coaching if you prefer to have that kind of mainlining of the content and you don't want to learn it over the course of a month or more. If you want to just get right to it, we do offer one-on-one coaching. That's available to you. You can read about that on the site. Pretty much everything we offer is there if you want to learn more about us. We're always happy to answer questions. If you have thoughts, issues, questions, concerns before becoming a member, feel free to write us and let us know. Otherwise, that will wrap it up for the day. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays going into the weekend. All right, guys, that's it for today, and I'll be back to you later. Bye.